talked about was life-giving friendships. And one of the quotes she used, which I love, was from How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. And so are our friendships others focused? Are we entering them with wisdom? Are we pointing them towards the good? And of course, she mentioned that if you want to dive deeper into friendship, there's the Bible study, Reclaiming Friendship, which I wrote, which we have already gone through. Yep. The next day was pursuing a work-life rhythm. And in this lesson, Lisa talked about a certain book written by Andy Stanley called When Work and Life Collide. And I actually want to suggest, he has a really great sermon based off of this book called Choosing to Cheat. And in it, he talks about how, like, we could give all of our time to everything, right? We could spend all of our time at home and nobody would ever have their love buckets filled enough. And we could spend all of our time at work and we would never be finished. And so because of that, we have to choose to cheat something, and we have to choose to cheat work, right? And so it's finding that rhythm where the people in our lives are getting what they need and we have peace with the work that we're doing. And in the sermon in particular, Andy Stanley tells a great story of a time where he was starting North Point Ministries, which is his church. It's one of the largest churches in America. And he could have worked 80 hours a week, no problem. And they had 3 little kids at home. And he ended up having this conversation with his wife where he said, what do you want? Don't be afraid to ask. If you could have anything, what would you want? And she said, Andy, if I could have anything without feeling guilty, I would want you home at 4. And he was like, okay. And so he did it. He was home at 4 and he's like, I'll meet you at 4 a.m., but I've got to be home by 4 p.m. And at this one point, I'm sorry, this is a little bit long, but I just think it's really beautiful. He was feeling all the pressure of this and he pulled over on the side of the road and he said, Lord, and he laughs at it now, but he said, Lord, can you build your church while I build my family? And he pokes fun at him. So oh Lord, all powerful, can you build this church? And so cool. Anyway, so it's great. It's a great sermon. So anyway, we're called to pursue a work-life rhythm that honors our number one role, which is our vocation.